Hello everybody, it's the 2nd of February today and not quite repotting season yet, so I'm going to be looking at this Cercidiphyllum, which I'm not going to put in a bonsai pot this year. It only went into this big seed tray last year, I believe. You can always check that on the playlist. I suppose I probably should have checked that on the playlist to see, but there's a playlist link below if you're new to my channel, showing its development from when I bought it as nursery stock to where it is now, which is kind of a pre-bonsai, I guess, a potensai some people say, although I have to be honest, I don't like that particular word. I've been building a trunk. That's my preferred method, I guess you could say, of growing a bonsai, is to start with a tree and build a trunk. So I think I've got some reasonable taper now, not a lot of movement, but I plan to grow this into a kind of informal broom style and quite a large tree. The common name for Cercidiphyllum is the gingerbread tree, or the some people call it the candy floss tree, and one of the benefits of growing it, I guess you could say, is that in the autumn, as well as you get some interesting golden yellow autumn colour, the leaves smell of candy floss, or some say burnt sugar, but I definitely got a reasonable whiff this year. And obviously the more foliage I have on the tree, the better the smell, so I want to grow it into quite a large tree. To that end, I'm going to eliminate most of these lower branches so that this becomes a fairly straight trunk. I might leave one of them as a sacrifice branch, but I would like it to concentrate on building up a head. So to that end, let's start removing some branches. Okay, so I'm going to be a bit brutal. I'm going to remove that sort of stub, and then leave a nice smooth wound. And I'm going to remove these branches as well. I don't generally use wound sealant. I like to leave them to heal naturally. So I won't be using any sort of wound paint. I've decided this one is going to go in favour of this one at the back here, which I will use as a sacrifice branch. So let's take that off. May have to come up the other way up. That's better. Okay. There we have it. Pretty much. That's my trunk. So yeah, a reasonable taper. Okay, so dealing with the top, I do have a very nasty wire scar just there, but I'm going to leave that, and I'm going to maybe cut some of this away when the tree is actively growing, and hopefully it'll heal itself. I quite like that branch. I've got a very odd arrangement here with the two branches. I'm going to lose this lower one in favour of this higher one, and this I'm going to shorten that piece off, bring it back to a nice fat juicy bud just there, and take that off. It's not quite a bar branch, and I'm happy with that. I'm not dissatisfied, at least. So, and I think I'll leave that piece as it is. At the back here, again, I've got two branches sticking out. I'm going to remove that one. I'm going to remove this one. That's going to interfere with this branch anyway. This is quite a nice back branch, and I do want to sort of encourage a kind of goblet shape if I can. I'm going to prune that back to a nice fat juicy bud just there, and I'm sure what to do with this top. I've got some very large internodes, so I'm going to bring that back to there. Again, I've got a nice fat juicy bud which will pop, hopefully, and I'm going to shorten this leader back to here, where I have another nice fat juicy bud. Okay, so I know that seems kind of drastic, but I've now got the beginnings of a nice head, I hope. I would like to bring that in a bit closer if I can without snapping it. Okay, so I've got just a small piece of wire, and I'm just literally going to make a hook there and a hook there, like so, and that just makes that bend a little less stark and perhaps a little bit more natural looking, I hope. Okay, it's partially obscured from the front view anyway, but I'm still happy with it looking like that. Just going to get rid of some of this moss and weeds and leaves, and leave the top of the compost clear, and then I can scrape a little away at a later date. Now let's do it now. Okay, so I've got my controlled, can you read that? Controlled release plant food, and I always make the distinction that I prefer to use the controlled release as opposed to continuous release. Controlled, as it says or implies, it tends to let out the fertilizer into the soil when the temperatures are right for growth, and the moisture levels are right for growth, and when the soil is too cold for plants to be actively growing, it somehow knows, I don't know how, and doesn't release the food. So I prefer to use that. It just feels that it might be slightly less wasteful. So I've just given it a bit of a top dressing, mixing it into the surface layer of the soil. Cooper's come out to join us. Well, he's been out for a little while, but he's been laid quietly watching, and now he's fussing about the airplane going over, but thankfully it's gone now. So I'll just give you a quick 360 with the can in for scale. As I say, this will be a sacrifice branch and allowed to grow on and hopefully fatten this part of the trunk even more, and then we'll allow the head to expand. I know sometimes it must seem that I'm definitely taking one step forward and 5 steps back, but I think this gives me the right kind of framework that I'm looking for to build that big head of what am I looking for? What's the word? Cotton candy floss scented foliage that I'm hoping for. So I have removed quite a lot, but I think the tree will be better for it. So thank you so much for watching. Do all the usual YouTube things, the liking, the subscribing, the commenting below, but most of all, please stay safe everybody.